All right. Hey guys, Dante here, and welcome back to my channel, The Burger Thought. And this is not a Sunday night stream, it is an extra stream. Because as I said last Sunday, I was hoping to continue this particular project. Okay, audio seems to be working just fine. Let me zoom in on the chat if anyone who pops in. Get rid of my headset, don't need that. All right, so first things first, yes, we found our spoon. For those of you not knowing what the hell I'm talking about, I use this spoon to dig into the reserve I have of epoxy clay. And it gets really stiff, so I use this to dig out pieces of it, because if I use tools like these, it will break the tool. And I found it, and what it was is that I used it a little while back to mix some latex material, which is why I'm peeling off the latex from this. I forgot I used it for that, and I put it into a different location. Anyway, so what are we doing? We are continuing our button sculpting. Quick run through. Old Amazing Spider-Man buttons from 2007. Have a giant bag of these guys with Crayola air dry craft foam on top, which does shrink a little bit, but we're gonna sculpt all the way around the pin to lock it in place so it won't just fall off. But we use the Crayola air dry foam, magic foam I think it's called, to act as filler, and then we sculpt on top of that with this epoxy clay. The epoxy clay, once again, is Smooth On Freeform Sculpt. I love this stuff. You get 2 containers of these, because once again, epoxy, 2 containers. I got it for like 25 bucks. It is a, oh, sorry, I just leaned right into the mic. It is a water-based material. It's very, very sticky, so you have to wet all your tools. On Sunday, we sculpted this creepy mouth. I'm going to add a little bit of clay on the edge, once again, to really make sure it wraps around. We are going to pick up where we left off with our kind of Little Shop of Horrors looking Audrey 2 face. So we're going to work on that. And yeah, then once we're done with all of this, eventually I will then go back, prime it with some spray paint, and then we will color it. Color it, paint it, make it look pretty. That's where we're at. Right? So let's get into it, shall we? Stuff is like, the clay doesn't get so hard that you can't use it. It doesn't like dry up. It just gets really freaking stiff though. So as mentioned on Sunday, and I'm sure in previous streams I've also mentioned this, I like to, I mixed in small batches, because this stuff gives you about a 20-minute sculpting run before it begins to harden. Like before the actual epoxy material begins to like take hold, the epoxy nature of it. If you didn't see the stream on Sunday, this past Sunday, it should still be up on both Twitch and YouTube. And if you miss it after about a week or so, it will, of course, still be on YouTube underneath my live stream playlist. In all honesty, I should have prepped before I hit play, before I hit go live, but I just wanted to jump right into it. So I didn't want to wait until everything was set up and then jump on, and it was like really not, 9:30 at night. It's a weekday. People have to work tomorrow. I gotta work tomorrow. I want to squeeze in roughly an hour into this stream. It took us start to finish almost 3 hours to do just the one pin. So, you know, time is money, as they say. Just record and get going. So, as I pry the clay out of this freaking bag, at least one part of the clay, you may notice on the top right in our canvas, the little canvas on the top right is a series of images and info. Next, not this upcoming weekend, but next weekend, I will be at Cosmic Con. I have a table at Cosmic Con. And after that, I'll be having a table later on, about a month or so after that, at Long Island Tabletop Gaming. And after that, there is a table I have scheduled for Brooklyn Comic Con. So I got 3 conventions already paid for. I'll be at those conventions with my table, selling my wares. These pins, I don't think I'll have these particular pins ready for the first convention. I don't think I'll have them ready for Cosmic Con. But I do have a small collection of pins of creepy creatures and monsters that are already made and painted and are waiting in the wings. So those will hopefully be up for sale, along with many of my other products I've been making recently. So please look out for those. Looking for my rag. Background music, as always, is provided by Streamlabs. Their music library is very nice. Now this part of the epoxy, this yellow part, this whitish part, this whitish gray, if I was to leave it on a table like that, over time it would slowly, like, it has a viscosity to it, it just slowly spreads out. Yeah, there we go. Because of that, it's like stuck in the bag. I feel like basically I'm gonna have to eventually hang this bag like this and hopefully let gravity pull the bag downward. If I could, you know, let it all slowly bleed off the edge of the bag, if that makes sense. Okay, it's getting harder and harder to pull this stuff out of this bag while it's like rubbed up against the edges. Now there we go. Let's see, mix this with this one. That looks like a good size. This is a 1-to-1 epoxy clay. So you want to make sure you get as close as you can. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to like weigh them in a scale or something. It just needs to be close. Yeah, something like that. There's not too much to report from this weekend into today, except for one thing. I've mentioned in the past that I frequent this like semi-Amazon store. It's a store that essentially they take Amazon products that they somehow get on wholesale, random products, and then they sell it in a store near me at super cheap prices. You just have to kind of rummage around and see what's in there. I got this cool latex mat from there. This is for like watercolor really, but it works perfect for this project because I don't have to worry about the this clay sticking to the base of it. But while I was there, I also managed to find about a... Sorry, I'm looking away from the camera as I'm talking. Sorry. I also managed to find about a quarter, just a quarter of it, of a PLA spool of like baby blue, like almost kind of like a light up color of this blue right here. I found it was a whole spool that was wound down to about a quarter of it. Usually those PLA spools are roughly 20 to 25 bucks, and that's not including the shipping. But I bought it on the $3 day, so I got a quarter of PLA spool for $3. And I freaking love that store because you find the weirdest stuff just like that. Just hanging around like on discounts, if that makes sense. Maybe I'll at least not have a color to use. Okay, so I pinch this bag to keep it airtight for now. I'm gonna hang it off to the side, and hopefully over time it will start to decompress. It will start to stretch out the way I want it. I gotta find a place to hang it. I'll find a place to hang it later. Let's get into this project. Let's get into this. Alright. We're doing this Audrey 2 looking face right now. So we're gonna mix about the medium sized one. We're gonna do the top half, and then we're gonna do a lip. That top lip. Okay, it's all about the lips. If you're gonna do Audrey 2, you need to make sure you got the lips just right. I was right now catching up. And my Critical Role, it is, let me see, I'm looking at it right now. It's Campaign 3, episode 83. I watched half of it last week on Thursday. Then I went to bed early. And I'm watching the second half of it. I just put it on pause because I don't want that playing in the background. And I told myself, you know what? I could sit here and watch this, or I could get some work done. And that's paused. It's the after the live stream. I could watch it at any time. So why not be productive? Why not get some work done? You know. Let me scoot upward a little bit. Oop. And my rickety stool. There we go. Why do I feel? There we go. The chat box is acting kind of weird. So you really need to mix this. Make sure it's all extremely mixed, extremely monocolor, singular color. It's light now, but it dries a little darker. Okay. A little bit to the side right there. So it's gonna be the kind of Little Shop of Horror, like the mouth. Then got some vines that kind of wrap around it, just to fill in the gaps. I'm gonna take this small piece from here. And I'm gonna use this to finish doing the edges of this particular pin, just to make sure everything's held in place around it. There we go. That way I know this sculpture is not gonna pop off or fly off anywhere. It is held down. It is held on nice and tight. This clay is really good if you're customizing figurines because it's super sticky. It will stick to the figurines, but you also kind of have to like really figure out how to use it with wet tools. Too much water and everything slides off. Not enough water, everything sticks to it. It's a little tricky. But I've gotten pretty good with it so far. There you go. That isn't going anywhere. Put them to the side. Let's finish mixing this one right here. Trying to move this chair better position. Just fidgeting over here. Why am I fidgeting so much? Let's see what to talk about. What to fill the air with other than the background music. I know the trailer for Avatar just dropped. Avatar Last Airbender. That actually dropped maybe 2 weeks back. It's funny, I haven't watched the trailer. I've just seen a lot of images of it. The images look good. The costumes look good. Boomy's in it. I have seen 1 or 2 action sequences. People segment the trailer into smaller parts. So the actual like impact of the earth bending and air bending, it looks cool. But there is a bit of strife going on regarding like the direction it might go, they toned down Sokka's masculine egotism. And people are like, don't do that because that was part of his character. More importantly, watching him not be a jerk over time and understand that women could be fighters is like a major plot point in his character. That's partially the introduction of the Kyoshi warriors and who they are. His understanding that women can be fighters. Why would you take that away from him? And that's one of the complaints I hear. And I kind of get it too. Like it's hard to write a character like that comes off, as an interesting character without it just making him look like a jerk. But yeah, it's once again, it's his character. Watching him grow out of that mindset is what's important. I don't know. It's early critique based on like some comment. It's early critique based on comments made by the creators of the show, not the original creators of the concept. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. Now the real trick here, if I don't get the lips right, if I don't like really get the lips right on this, it's gonna be a problem. Because I mentioned in the last stream, Audrey 2 to be precise, the lips are really at the front of the mouth. I mean at the front of the giant snapping pod. It's the lips at the front, and that's why they make a little pucker face. So you have to like really get those lips just right. And I made this bottom lip really smooth. We're gonna put a thin layer on top of that, and like actually do like the little do a bit more sculpting to make the lips stand out more in terms of like texture. At least that's the idea, at least. So we'll see how that goes. Still a little streaky. As mentioned also in the last stream, I have a few different ideas, from ugly maggots to like devil goats and maybe a werewolf kind of creature. If you have an idea for a creepy pin, I don't care what it is, let me know. A lot of this is like organic, you know, organic-y, but maybe I'll do like a cyborg face, like a skull that's like mechanical on one side. These are all meant to be one of a kind anyway, so I just, you know, I sculpt them as however I wish. Let's see what we got here. First, I do wanna, like I said, readjust that bottom lip. So I wet my finger so it doesn't stick to my finger. I blow on this side to get that dry so it sticks onto it nicely. At least that's the idea. There we go. Just work this back into that bottom lip. Smooth it out. Oh, if it's too wet, it slides off. You see what I mean about like finding that balance between dry enough and wet enough, and trying to find a way for it not to slide off. Take some of that off. This is like a wedge rubber implement or latex implement. There we go. Maybe not super deep, maybe not super noticeable on camera, but when I go to hit this with some paint and a wet brush, it'll sink into these little crevices and hopefully be a lot more noticeable. Here we go. This is like one of my first sculpting tools. It's a simple flat, simple curve. It's not too sharp on the flat side, so I could, it's not like cut, it's leaving indents, not cuts, which is really useful. I used this a lot when I first started any kind of sculpting, really. There we go. Okay, now we got to figure out that top lip. I'm gonna try somewhat of a technique I saw once before, where the top lip is made of two balls side by side. And the bottom lip is a ball beneath that, and then you stretch them out sideways, if that makes sense. Let's see if I can get that kind of concept to work. So first, then what you do is you blend those two together. You add little triangles in the side and you blend it all into one shape. Come here, you stay there. Let's see if this makes sense. Come on, blend for me. Mix together. Come on. Let's see. Looking up a quick reference. Images. Nope, that picture's way too small. I'm just looking up some. There was one particular picture I saw which really worked well. Ah, is that it? Yes, there we go. That does make sense, okay. Feed Missy more. Feed me all night long. You can do it. Feed Missy more. I could grow up big and strong. If you want a rationale, it isn't too hard to see. Oh no, no. Come on, think it over now. The guy sure looks like plant food to me. The guy sure looks like plant food to me. Look at him, always treating him rough. Acting so big and acting so tough. So it's a good song. The whole stage play. I never seen a stage play. Never seen a stage play. Love the movie. Like I said, the pot light for this is about 20 minutes, so if I don't mix it when I can, it causes me trouble. If I don't mix, if I don't get rid of like seams quickly enough, it's a pain in the butt. I am really pushing this top lip to the limit. Just trying to blend it though, and it doesn't want to work with me. There we go. Let's remove some of this excess. And you know what? Let's wrap it around. Let's wrap the excess around the back if we can. Wet my thumbs and just give it that pinch of a smile. There we go. There's that pinch. That looks good. Like really curl the edge right there. Make the upper lip almost like a heart shape. That looks better. Okay, now we go back. Just gonna do a bunch of random little texture cuts in the upper lip. In all honesty, this wasn't the original shape I was aiming for the upper lip. Maybe I should have stuck closer to my guns, but it does work, so we'll stick with it. Let's use you instead. Get those lines on the bottom lip in there as well. I like that. That works. That does work. Perfect. How's it look to you guys? Luscious enough? I say it's luscious enough. Right. Let's mix a bit more. Let go of me. Let's start doing some tendrils around it. Double check my audio, make sure everything's okay. Yep, audio sounds good. All right. And yes, as mentioned previously, I should wear gloves for this because it just sticks to everything. But the gloves get in the way of the tactile sensation. At least that's how I feel about it. And yeah, there's always the issue with like fingerprints. You know, it is a thing. But today I did remember to trim down my nails. So at least we have that. I've been digging in soil all day today at my job. Just digging in that dirt. So please excuse me if my nails are not the cleanest at the moment. Why is this not wanting to mix as well? It's really bleeding off everywhere except where it needs to go. Give me a second. Maybe I just put too much water into it. Come here, you. There we go. Too much water. It was getting all sloppy. Okay, so I have a vine curling on top, which kind of gives it a hair. I have a vine curling this way, or rather it's going up and curling. And I got one that's curling this way, and I could probably put some leaves in there too after the fact. So how should we approach this? What's the best way to approach this? Should I just cut this off altogether, or should I sculpt on top? I'm thinking I'm sculpting on top. sculpt on top and see how it looks. There we go. What we have going on over here, excuse me, my it's time for bed, old man alarm just went off. The plan I have for this is to curl it, so I'm going to pre-curl it, something like that. Wet my hands a lot for that. And then we're going to do that. We're going to hopefully be able to blend this part down into it. Too much water. There we go. Had to blow on it to dry it off. There we go. Where's that little bit I just cut off? There it is. So we're gonna blow on it, get this dry. To this little piece I have, just kind of combine. I'm probably gonna cut just that little piece of yellow off, or maybe I'll sculpt a leaf there to fill in the gap. Okay. I like this little sharp spatula tool. Lets me cut off edges I don't like. Here we go. This ball should work well. And then define that line right there. It's one chunky little curl. I'm debating on how to really define these. Should I just like do ridges in them? Something like that. I need to let that dry a bit. The more I lean on it, the more it begins to like move. So we're just gonna let that dry for a little bit. I say as I keep working on it, but there we go. And we're basically gonna make it look like it's all curling from around. So the next one's gonna curl underneath to overlap this one, and then just come up this way. Bring it a little closer to the camera. Hopefully it's still in good focus. And for the exposed white right here, I'll probably stick a leaf in there. Work it out. When I paint it, I'll do a little bit of red blood coming down from the corner of the lip. The very nub needs to be a little bit thicker, to be honest. The little end of the tendril. I have so many reservations. Should I go and perform mutilation? If you want a rationale, isn't too hard to see, oh no, no. Come on and think it over now. The guy sure looks like plant food to me. The guy sure looks like plant food to me. So I was watching some like behind the scenes kind of stuff of making of Little Shop of Horrors, the movie. And apparently, see, the shots with the puppet is so big that they film it at a different frame rate. Because it's so big that to control it's a little sluggish. So they had to film it at a slightly, that's better, at a slightly different frame rate for it to look like it belonged in the scene with the humans. But what do you do when the character has to sing next to it? And so apparently the head actor, the guy from Honey I Shrunk the Kids, and I'm ashamed of myself for not remembering his name right now. Is it Rick Moranis? No. Is it? Damn it. It'll come back to me. His name will come back to me. But essentially, he sings that entire scene in slow motion. Like, he sings it a little slower than he should be doing it, and he has to move his body slower, but in a way where once it's sped up, it looks natural, and it's like you don't even notice it until now that I said it, you'll probably notice it. But it's really well done. Like the physical timing, his just his body movement, his lip sync with whatever audio track they were using, like, it's so well done. And it just helps sell the scene with that freaking talking plant. No, you don't. Stay on, stay on. Once this gets a little, it just takes a little bit of time, a few minutes for it to like start to get stiff. And once it does, I could then go back and like I said, really touch up some stuff, because it won't be as floppy. I could sculpt on top of it, it won't be as floppy. There we go. Should I try and put the little leaf right there right now? A little heart-shaped leaf almost, right? Let this little, let me shape this leaf, right? Flatten it out, shape it up with its curved edges. Like that. What can I use? What tool am I not using? I'm not using this one that much. And you know what? No, screw that. I'm using a latex pad. Utilize that latex pad. Let it curve a little bit on that. Let it semi-dry. Then I can start plugging it in. So I'm going to mix this big piece right here, which will be for the details on that leaf. This top piece, and maybe a second leaf somewhere. And if we have a little extra, I'm thinking, for simplicity's sake, should we do the goat? Maybe the maggot. I'll start building up the maggot for simplicity's sake. The maggot's really just simple shapes, and then a really naughty looking face with some like extra eyes and whatnot. Fun random fact, because I noticed this when when I first saw the movie for Little Shop of Horrors. Um, Two of the actresses from the show Martin. I don't know if anyone remembers that show. Martin. It was like, just like a zany kind of sitcom, all black cast. Martin's girlfriend and his friend's girlfriend who hated him. Like Martin's girlfriend and her friend, who was girlfriend to his buddy, who just always ragged on Martin. Both of them are actually in it. They make two of the three, I guess you call them muses. They're the three women who are always singing in the background, but are never actually like part of the scene, if that makes sense. They're actually, they're in there. They're in that film. It was really cool. When I was little, when I was young, I was like, oh, that's the girl from Martin. I recognize her. Yeah, they play like I guess you can say they play the muse because they don't just add background lyrics. They also semi-narrate it. Like they narrate the beginning, or they join in the narration to set up like the town they're in and where they live. On Skid Row, down on Skid Row. Everyone's just not happy on Skid Row. Crud, I touched a wet spot and it stuck. Right about there. Get back there, get back there. Okay, let's see. That is a bad shape to start with down there. Come on. Try again. Try again. As I said, I try to keep my stuff non-political, but come on, that little curve of the hair on top, that's a little Trumpish, isn't it? There we go. Hold it by the actual pin on the back of it, the little safety pin. I want this to look like it's curving from the back of the pin, like it's wrapping around. So add a little bit right here to pull that off. Now where is, there we go. Wrap it around the back as well. Like actually wrap it around the back that way. Once again, it grips the pin There's no chance of it cracking off and falling forward. Might put a leaf right here as well on top. Okay. Nice. We got a lot of material left over, so we're going to use this and start sculpting some leaves. I'm going to put a leaf on top here, a leaf over here. Let me put this to the side because it's sticking to the actual pin, and I don't like that. The shape's not working for me. Okay, let's see what we could do with this. We're going to flatten this guy out. We're going to try something a little crazy. Right? I'm trying to make the veins of the leaf, right? That's not going to work anyway. I think this is something I'm going to have to sculpt into it. Okay, let's start by just putting something beneath this leaf. Just going to plug it in right here. Just fill in that gap. That way, the leaf won't flop over as much. There we go. And there's a little gap there, but I could just, once it dries, I could just like stick stuff in there to really like fill in the holes. Just want to get the leaf in place. Where is that? Ah. There we go. Then I can sculpt. Like I said, when it dries, we can sculpt the little details on it. Let me see how you doing. How you doing? Oh, I like that. Like just have it like a curve like that. That does work. So let me put a small piece and mush it right there as like the little foundation. Just mush it right there. Blow it off. Then put this on it. And then once again, I could get in there. Once it dries up, put a bunch in there like glue and hold it in there. So we got one leaf here, one leaf there. I kind of like that. Maybe another leaf here. I don't know. Tiny leaf. Tiny leaf. Trying to get that heart shape. And then roll it off. That looks really good. And then we're gonna just, once it really dries, I'm gonna add, like I said, some anchor clay in here around the edges. So maybe clean up some of the clay over here. Let me do that right now to make sure I define how this is how this whole branch over here is curving. Trying to see if I can make little, like kind of like little crosses, if that makes sense. And that will we could probably use that for the veins of the leaves. I mean, because in the end, I could probably also just paint them like that, but I want some depth. I want the sculpture to have that, you know? Wet my fingers. Very carefully see if I can like shape this out a little bit. Kind of like that. Will that work? Let's see. Kind of works. Problem is I gotta pinch off the excess. So let's pinch that off. Works a little bit. Might be a bit too big. These little veins I'm making for the leaf might be a bit too big. Maybe I should just forget that. And maybe we should use what I have. Let's do little spikes on it. Let's do little spikes. Let's give them little spikes here and there. Yep, roll it up. Blow off the tip of it. That way it's nice and dry. And just push it right into it. Yeah, I like that. And the spikes do have a little bit of fingerprint texture, but nothing that can't be like sanded out later. You have just enough to do like just a few spikes here and there, so it works. I like it. It works. Wrong tool. Do a little bit of sculpting, a little bit of blending. That way the spikes don't just fly off. Make sure they adhere just a little bit. Also, doing striations helps get rid of the oh, I got a little bit on my finger. Also helps get rid of a little bit of the fingerprint texture, as I said. Yeah, not bad. Yeah, not bad at all. Look at that, guys. So I do need to do, I will do, man, you know what? What if I just carve it in there? I'd rather do it raised, but if I carve it in there, the paint could sink in. Yeah, I like that better. I'll carve it in. We're gonna carve in like these little leaf veins. Okay, that is exactly what they are. I mean, they don't carry blood, but they carry nutrients throughout the plant. From one end, from the tips of the leaf down the stem. So we are gonna pump in some more clay, fill in this area, cover this yellow here, wrap it around. Opposite side, we're gonna do some cleaning. You know, wrap the clay around it. But I wanna say that might be it for this piece for today. A lot quicker than the mouth we did on Sunday. But then again, I was kind of just trying to get back into the flow of it. Get beneath this. I want the leaf to actually curve upward. There we go. Just a little bit more dynamic with it. Curves. Don't fight me on this. Come on, buddy. Do the little indent on the back side of the leaf. Give it a slight kind of heart shape. And I want to say that's that. Any smaller details I want to do once it dries up a bit. That way things won't be pushed back and forth accidentally while, you know, moving stuff around. But I do declare that should be the end of it. Let me extend the lip to the very edge. There we go. Where's my squared off piece? Much better. There we go. Yeah, how's that look, guys? I think that's good. Big old angry mouth. Little shop of horror looking guy. That's 2 pins down. That is 2 pins good to go. And then several more. If we're lucky, we might actually get a few new pins. Like these pins a few of these pins might be ready to go for the convention. For maybe by next week. I have 1 week to do a few of these. Maybe I could spray paint this guy ahead of time and at least get 1 extra pin in. But we do have other pins that are already done from previous cons. But yeah, that's it for tonight. It is a 10. Let's see, we started at what? When did we start? We started at roughly 8:45. It is now roughly 10:13. About an hour. And we got this one done in an hour. This one was a slow process getting back into it. This took us like 3 hours altogether. Just to really get into it again. But this I'm happy with. This is good. We're going to get back into this one. Probably off camera, I'll fill in the gaps. Maybe tomorrow we'll work on this guy. And I want to say that is it. As mentioned, check out the links in the corner over on YouTube. You can see all the much older live streams. You can still find this one here on Twitch as well. So over on YouTube, you can find the much older live streams that are all saved, as well as a number of other videos I've done. On Instagram, you're going to see works in progress. So you will see photographs of these on Instagram as we're going through the process. And then Twitter is where I do my rambling, and DeviantArt is usually where I have some finished work. And check out my personal website, daburgos.com. That's the Burgos Art. Sorry, daburgosart.com. That's the burgosart.com. I got my own website. It is slowly being built up, but you can see a few pieces. You can see a few pieces in a general gallery of what I've been doing recently, as well as a few pieces and a few portfolios and links to all the other social media. So definitely check it out. I want to work up that website slowly. Cons up in the corner. Cosmic Con. First one coming up. It is February 17th and 18th. After that, once again, it's the Long Island Retro Gaming. And after that will be Brooklyn Comic Con. And then after that, I don't know, maybe another Long Island convention. Correction, I said Long Island Retro Gaming. Long Island Tabletop Gaming. Long Island Retro Gaming comes later on in the summertime, and I'm standing by to see if they have any tables left. Come by and see me next weekend, not this upcoming weekend, weekend after that, at Queens at Cosmic Con. And that's it for the rambles. Okay, guys, once again, I am Dante. Like, favorite, share, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And I'll see you in the future. Later.